The Treasury market is supposed to be like that other financial channel. Boring. Well, boring and steady anyway. But lately, Treasuries have been putting on these eye-popping single-day moves. And while most of the media is talking about how low the rate on the Treasuries now are, it's actually the wild action itself, more than the result of that wild action, that's got me turning bearish on Treasuries for a trade, for an investment, everything. I don't like them starting today. What do you think, Jill? Tell everybody who you are first.
All right, I'm Jill Schlesinger. I'm from Strategic Point Investment Advisors. And as much as I love you, Cody, and we've known each other for a long time.
Long time. I'm sorry, hold on.
The problem is with that theory is if the economy does slow down, then we're going to see Treasury prices increase further. And I'm not saying that we're done yet, but if we really go into if we are going into a big slowdown for the economy, Treasury prices are going to be going up, and yields are going to go down.
You're saying that because you're picturing the flight to safety move continuing as we see it. I just feel like it's at least in the near term, it's gotten traded. It's gotten to be crowded. It feels like a Momo trade at this point, and the Treasuries are not supposed to be momentum vehicles.
Indeed, and let's talk about really for people at home what the bond market's supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be acting differently than the stock market. And in fact, if you are allocated with some U.S. Treasuries, some stocks, some international, some commodities, things are working perfectly for you right now.
Except for the fact that it is all correlated, and that's where you're going, right? You don't actually want everything to be working.
Exactly. So
it's like what someone once said, you actually do want to lose money on your hedges.
On some part of your portfolio. So right now, if you're losing money in the stock market and you're making money in your bond portfolio, what's the best thing to do? If you're sitting at home, what's the very best thing to do right now? Hey, take a look at your allocation. Hey, is my stock portfolio down a lot and I'm over allocated in bonds because they went up a lot? Hey, let me take some of my money out of the bond market at the top, maybe. We don't know.
At least
recharge my allocation. Right, and let's kind of rejigger my allocation so that I have a really sweet allocation that can get me where I want to go.
I want some specifics. This is what I'm talking about. If I'm saying stay away from money markets because I don't trust them.
Don't be a wimp. That's ridiculous. Let me tell you something. We use a money market. I did on national television.
TV, yeah.
Here's the thing. We use right now a FDIC insured money market account. It is sweet.
But you've got, and this is what I'm saying though. People at home, they don't know how to find FDIC versus non-FDIC. So just stay away from money markets. Now I'm saying stay away from Treasuries, and that's where I'm trying to go. So if I'm giving that advice, where do you put the money?
Well, I don't agree with that advice. That's the problem. I can't go with that. Here's the deal. You do not pick one asset class. Here's the takeaway from this whole segment is I'm not going to pick bonds versus stocks versus commodities.
I'm not trying to imply that. I'm saying if I've told everyone take 20 or 30% out of the stock portfolio, so many people now have that in money markets and Treasuries, and I'm saying where else can you put it?
Okay, so I'll give you some more options right now. The international markets have fallen pretty dramatically over the last couple of weeks. I still am a big fan, you know this, of the emerging markets, and you hate them because they're bubble factories, but I still think they've got a longer way to go. I bought and sold some of my gold. Gold has retreated some. It's a little bit of a reflation trade.
I do like gold here for a trade.
So you can buy GLD, you can buy SLV, the exchange traded funds.
Those are the symbols.
Those are for the
GLD,
exchange,
SLV.
and SLV.
SLV obviously not gold, but
right. GLD and SLV for silver, which are the exchange traded funds.
Wouldn't it be great if the periodic table made as much sense for the symbols as the stocks do? Rebecca, thank you so much, Jill. I have to throw it over to my dear Rebecca.
I won't call her a wimp.
Don't, because I'll actually go to blows defending my girl Rebecca.
Over here.
All right, there you go. Hi, honey.
We're very casual on this show. Good to see you. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
All right, well, Americans have big hearts and the charitable track record to prove it, but their purse strings are a bit tighter this year, according to the nation's food pantries. Here to tell us why is Eric Leventhal. He's a board member from America's Second Harvest, which is the nation's largest hunger relief organization. And you guys rang the closing bell at the NASDAQ today, just a short time ago, but you're not a public company, you're a nonprofit, so why were you at the NASDAQ?
We're a not-for-profit organization, and we've had the fortunate opportunity over the past couple of years to ring the closing bell on the night before Thanksgiving, because it's a perfect opportunity to remind Americans that there is a lot to be thankful for, but there are a lot of, basically 35 million Americans who are dealing with hunger every day. And so it's a little bit bittersweet. We ring the bell, we remind ourselves that we're about to have a great feast tomorrow at Thanksgiving, and yet also remember that there are a lot of people in this country who need our help.
Does it also help, Eric, that being there at the NASDAQ, it's also a reminder to corporate America that to donate to
Yep.
food banks across the country.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, any exposure that we have to talk about the hunger issue is great, and there are a lot of NASDAQ companies who are contributors. We have great corporate contributors to America's Second Harvest, but as you talk about on your show all the time, companies are looking to be more and more efficient all the time. We've got partners who are on the food manufacturer side, we have partners who are on the food retail side, and they're wonderful partners. But look, they're not looking to find ways to have more
food. I mean,
food.
they need to make a profit.
Exactly.
I mean, and the reason we're also talking about this is to alert corporate America and everyone out there that there's a huge drop in donations. I mean, I read here in one New Hampshire food bank, they're saying that they usually have 700,000 pounds of food in stock. Now they have 126,000 food in stock. Why such this extreme shortage right now?
It's a supply and demand story. I mean, the shortage is because, unfortunately, the demand is up. I was reading some material from some of our food banks around the country, and in places like Florida, they're reporting 20 to 30% increases in need versus last year. So, for a lot of different reasons, and of course we try and dig out exactly what the reason is. But you know, we've got raising oil prices on gasoline, people trying to drive to work. You have people who are making decisions about whether to pay for their medication because they don't have the right health care, or put food on the table. And so, as these American families, unfortunately, and as I mentioned, there are 35 million of them now. Like 1 in 10 Americans, if you think about it, is facing hunger issues. They're reaching out to our food banks around the country to get support for their families. And so it really is a story, again, of supply and demand. It's not that the donations aren't there. We have great corporate donors and great individual donors.
Right, that's what I was going to ask. So you're not seeing a drop in corporate donations?
We are. Let's put it this way. We always need more donations.
Yeah, that's very true.
Sorry for the plug, but secondharvest.org is where you would go to help. Whether you are a titan of industry watching this show and could help us in that way, or whether you're an individual contributor, we'd love to hear from you, because again, this is the time of year where we can get people's attention to focus on the hunger issue.
And it's interesting too, as you say, that corporate donations are always there, but in the process, with all this technology and computerization, like supermarkets and wholesale grocery stores, for example, they have these new great computer programs that make it so efficient that they don't have all this leftover food now, which they would normally donate to the food banks.
The better they get, the more efficient they get, the more they drive their profitability, which is what they're there for. This is not a complaint at all. Unfortunately, it's not like their donations are going to increase every year, and yet the demand increases every year. So the solution that we're looking for at America's Second Harvest is actually, in part, through the government. I don't know if you've talked about it on this show, but the Farm Bill is a huge issue for us, and part of the Farm Bill is the nutrition title, which funds food stamps and the Emergency Food Assistance Program, TFAP. And these are the types of programs that really could make a huge difference in American families' lives in terms of giving them help.
Eric, thank you very much for being on Happy Hour, and hopefully this will get the message out for more people to donate.
Appreciate your help. Thank you.
Well,